Hey, this is Lenzel on Keep His Commandments. Just going to do a quick car study on some notes that I've taken in the past. Maybe just some enlightening for you all, and we'll go from there. Okay? So, Babylon. Babylon. What do people know about Babylon? Ancient Babylon in Mesopotamia, in the land of Shinar. Okay? Genesis 11. I think it's Jubilees 10 as well. At any rate, what does Babylon mean? When we look into the Hebrew there, we have a bet, and a lamed in the modern Hebrew. And how I understand Hebrew, babal, there's two bas, ba, bal, and then the shepherd's staff at the end. So when you look at what Babylon represents, it represents, if you look into the Strongs, it will say confusion. Babylon means confusion. But Babylon, if you break down the characters of the Hebrew, it can mean the house, because it's a bet. The bet means the house. But bet could also mean inn. So the house inn, look at the second bet, and then the lamed is a shepherd's staff. And the shepherd's staff can mean control or authority, to lead, to teach. So you can break down Babylon or Babal as the house in control, or the house that's in authority. Okay? So what's the significance of Babylon? Well, we know that in Revelation, I think it's 18 or 19, yeah, Revelation 18 or 19, I can't get the exact address, but there is prophetic imagery of Babylon falling. Okay? Babylon has fallen, has become a habitation of devils. And we are told to come out of her, my people, lest you share in her sins and you receive of her plagues. So, and also in Jeremiah 51, talk about Babylon as well. Now we know that the king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, the Chaldeans, enslaved the house of Judah. Okay, but it was prophesied that they would enslave the house of Judah, okay, due to their iniquities. But let's try to go back. So what is the ancient significance of the Tower of Babel or Babylon? Okay, so if we start going into Genesis chapter 11, you'll see that the whole earth was of one lip and of one speech. And they, the book of Jasher gives a better explanation of the people, but it would reckon into that book that all nations were part of this, which would make sense. Of the master plan of getting this tower in this city to reach the heaven. Now, I won't go into there, but it says that let us make a name for ourselves in Genesis, right? Let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered across, right? I'm paraphrasing the face of the earth, right? And that word for name, and I've gone back into this conversation of name, Shem or Sham, is that they wanted authority. They wanted a mark. They wanted a sign that was going to reach the heaven, right? That was going to be above, okay? They wanted authority that was greater than the Father's, okay? And then we see that the Most High looked at it and scattered the people. You have accounts in Jubilees, or you have the account in Jubilees that not only did he scatter them, but he actually overthrew it. He caused a mighty wind to overthrow the tower. Okay, I'm not sure about the city, but at least the tower, I believe. So what does that... So we take Genesis 11, and then it kind of moves into the genealogy of Shem. Now, what's the significance of this? Because we do see that there's prophetic imagery of Babylon falling. So we know the end from the beginning. Well, we know that Babylon, or Babal, did fall. It was scattered. if the Jubilees account is correct, it actually was overthrown. So going into more of the prophetic imagery of Babylon or Babal, we then move and transition into Nebuchadnezzar in the book of Jeremiah, in the book of Daniel, explicitly. And I think Isaiah may make some references as well to Nebuchadnezzar and the kingdom of Babylon. But we see that there was a opportunity for Israelites to repent from their wicked ways, and the destruction of Jerusalem would not transpire, would not bring the Chaldeans. But we know that through the kings like Zedekiah, Jehoiakim, did evil in the eyes of the Most High. Okay, so it was going to happen no matter. It was almost as if it was going to happen no matter what. But the Father is no respecter of persons, and He wants us all to repent from our wicked ways and our evil deeds, okay, and to turn to Him in all truth and righteousness. So, what is interesting is when we start to go into Daniel chapter 2, we see that Nebuchadnezzar is having a vision or a dream of this image, of this statue that he sees. Okay, so, and we tie it back to Genesis 11, and I believe if the Jasher's account is right, I may have to make another video on it, but it says that all the nations were part of this construct, which would make sense going to what this image kind of represents. So you have Nebuchadnezzar as the head, the fine gold. Okay, fine gold is the head. Nebuchadnezzar is the head, or Babylon is the head. Okay, the head is the lead, right? It's the highest part of the body. And the way I've been looking at this image of Daniel 2, Daniel 4, and Daniel 7, that Babylon, the Medes and the Persians, the Greeks and the Romans, all are part of the same body that Nebuchadnezzar dreamed and Daniel interpreted. It's all part of the same body. So the silver of the chest and the arms was the Medes and the Persians, but still part of the same body. The Greeks were the belly and the thighs of brass, still part of the body. And then the feet, the legs and the feet are the iron, which is the Romans. Now, what is significant about these materials is that they're representing kingdoms. And then you have the clay, which is the iron and the clay. And you have to ask yourself, we have to ask ourselves, what is the clay? Well, He is the Father, and we are the clay. Or He's the potter, we're the clay. He is the Father, all right, is the potter, and then we are the clay. But what I want people to, what I've been seeing through this image in Daniel chapter 2 is what is the function of this image? What is the function of this image? Well, you go back to Genesis 11, the idea of the image is to get everyone to be one people. Everyone to be one people. And if we look at the book of Maccabees, I'll end it with this sort of, I don't have this pulled up, but it's a quick reference. First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 41 through 49. Okay. It says, so the concept behind it is the Greeks knew the beast, or the image and the beast knew what they all exercise. No matter what the kingdom is, or the kingdoms, they all exercise what the head has established. So Nebuchadnezzar, when the Medes and the Persians came, they weren't establishing anything new. When the Greeks came, they weren't establishing anything new. When the Romans came, they weren't establishing anything new, because Nebuchadnezzar already set the standard. Okay, he already set. He's the gold. He's the head. So now when the Greeks come in, and we get this image of being one people. So it says, moreover, Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. So there's nothing new under the sun, right? What they were doing back then at the Tower of Babel, same thing the Greeks were trying to do. Okay? And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yeah, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion. So not only do you have all the other nations consenting, but you also have Israelites that believe in the covenant, believe in the laws and the commandments and the judgments of the Most High, to hearken unto the what Babylon has already submitted to, or what the Greeks submit to, which is Babylon. Okay, it's just a different name. But the oneness, what they're trying to do, for what they're trying to represent and present to us, is they want us to forsake laws, consent, well, for one, to consent to their religion, which is to worship other gods, okay, sacrifice unto idols, and profane the Sabbath. Okay, that's what they want us to do. Right? For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judea, that they should follow the strange laws of the land, and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifices and drink offerings in the temple, that they should profane the Sabbaths and the festival days. So forget about the festival days, forget about the Sabbath, forget about sacrificing to the Most High, and pollute the sanctuary and the holy people. Set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh, so unclean beasts, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised, and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end that might forget the laws and the charge, and change all the ordinances. So that's what it means to be one people. Now, the Most High, when he brought us out of Egypt, going into the covenant, that's what he wanted us to keep, the Sabbaths. He wanted us to be circumcised. He wanted us to be, right, a holy people unto him. Right? That's what he wanted us to be, is one people unto him. Now the nations, Babylon, the Greeks, they wanted their own oneness. They wanted their own image of what to follow, okay, which is the image that's spoken of in Daniel 2, right? Because it's all part of the same body. It's all part of the same structure. It's still part of the same. It may just do different things, but it's still part of the same body. So that's what it means to be one people. When we tie it back to Genesis 11, right? Sorry, I got to get going here in a minute. But when we turn it back to Genesis 11, it says, look, they are all one people. So we have to ask ourselves today, like, what does that look like? What does it really mean to be one people? You know, what is the goal in mind for the nations? For us to be one people, okay? And ultimately, it's a spiritual battle. It's a spiritual warfare that we're going up against. Okay, it's principalities, right? It's rulers. This is what we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against rulers, against the darkness of the wickedness. I'm paraphrasing, right? That's what we're up against. So we're not up against this other, like, we're up against this stuff. You know, it's a spiritual battle. So yeah, we'll get into it. But peace and blessings to you all. Keep his commandments. Shalom.